It's been hiding in plain sight all along, right on the opening pages of the New Testament. As you're about to discover, the book of Matthew is a remarkable window into the Jewish context of Jesus' life and times. Get ready to have your eyes open as our special guest brings illuminating insights into the person, the words, and the role of Yeshua HaMashiach. It's all just ahead. Today on Jewish Voice.
Shalom and welcome to Jewish Voice, a program to help you to understand the Jewish roots of your Christian faith, Bible prophecy, and world events surrounding Israel. Today's guest believes that you can deepen your faith by understanding who Jesus really was and is, and to do that, we need to dig back in time to see him in the light of first century Jewish practices and thought. The rabbi you're about to meet has done extensive study on this subject. He spent many years studying the rabbinical traditions and worldview of Jesus' day, and he brings to us a clear understanding of the Jewish Jesus, Rabbi Yeshua. Please welcome back my good friend, Rabbi Barney Kasdan. Barney, welcome back. Great to have you back on Jewish Voice. Well, I want to congratulate you because you have done some incredible work on the book of Matthew. How many years have you spent in preparation for this new book you just did?
Well, you know, in a real sense, it's a compilation of 30 years of Messianic ministry, but about 7 years of writing in between my duties as a Messianic rabbi in San Diego.
Well, awesome work. Give all those that are watching an overview of what you've done, what your premise is in digging into the book of Matthew, because you bring us something that I think is a whole new approach and is very, very eye-opening.
Yeah, well, of course, the book of Matthew's always been there in the New Testament, and it's been the first book of the New Testament for historical reason. Matthew bridges the Tanakh, the Torah, the Old Testament, and gives us the New Covenant. And when I became a Jewish believer, a Messianic Jew in 1971, I guess I kind of naively thought, well, it's going to be a Jewish book. You know, so I was reading it, and it just captivated me over the years, and was able to do some graduate studies both on the Christian and Jewish side, and to see that, you know what, even though the text of the New Testament is what it is, and it's the truth of God, that we understand it even better if we get back into the original context. First century Jewish culture, even, for example, the Mishnah, the Jewish commentaries of that day. And to me, it seems that then the New Testament even makes more sense.
What I want to dig into today is the idea that if you just read Matthew or the other Gospels, or for that matter, the New Testament, without understanding its Hebraic roots, you really miss a lot, don't you?
Everyone seems to know, at least intellectually, that Jesus was a Jew. And Jonathan, it's so interesting because there's, of course, a renewed interest in the Jewishness of Jesus, both in the Christian community and in the Jewish community.
Actually, Time magazine listed a rediscovery of the Jewishness of Jesus as one of the top 10, one of the foremost topics that will be of importance in the new millennium.
It's growing, so I don't have to tell our audience that it's a hot topic. It's growing, which of course we Messianic Jews welcome, because it's kind of been our message all along that we accept Yeshua, Jesus, as the Messiah, but it's really not a conversion to a new religion. It's supposedly receiving the fulfillment of what we Jews are looking for anyway.
One of us.
Yeah.
Our boy, as I've heard some say, from New York, our New York Jewish friends. Many of you watching love the Jewish roots of your faith, which is why you watch Jewish Voice, and that's why we're here, to help you to understand that God has a plan for Israel, for the Jewish people, and you're part of that plan. And one of the things we look at, Barney, is the Hebraic roots of the faith. So let's dig into Matthew a little bit and begin in Matthew chapter 2. Talk to us about Matthew chapter 2 and a very, very interesting thing you bring out.
Yeah, it's actually a rather puzzling verse. Probably some of our viewers have noted the verse 23 of Matthew 2, where it says, as the family came back, as Yeshua and his family came back from Egypt, settled back in Nazareth, that this was a fulfillment of what the, quote, prophets said, that he shall be called a Nazarene. Well, the fact is, I looked at the Bible up and down, and actually the Tanakh, the Old Testament, doesn't even mention Nazareth. It doesn't mention any such prophecy that he would be a Nazarene. So I've actually read some commentaries on this say, well, you know, Matthew was a little confused, or he didn't know his history, or the Bible has some mistakes.
And a critical attack of the Bible uses that verse as a mistake.
Yeah,
to point it out as a mistake.
But if we understand some of the Jewish way of interpreting the Scripture, it's actually a proof of, I think, Matthew's inspiration. There's this thing in the Jewish tradition called Midrash, which means we don't take the literal interpretation like the Greeks often would, but it's more of an illustration and maybe a play on words and a connection, Midrash. And it seems clear to me as I studied it that this is exactly what Matthew was struck by. When the family came back to Nazareth, he says, oh, well, this is a perfect completion. In Jewish understanding, there's not an exact, verse that says he will be a Nazarene, but there are verses that say the Messiah, the Mashiach, will be, the Hebrew word is netzer, a branch from the family of David. And Matthew couldn't help but note, of course,
it's a Messianic term, isn't it?
A Messianic term, and the Messianic families moving back to the town of the branch. It's a perfect, instead of being a contradiction or a problem, it's actually an eye-opening, beautiful connection in the Jewish interpretation.
So you really have to go back to the Hebrew and see Natsir, branch, which interestingly a Christian today is known as Notzrim.
Notzrim, yeah.
In Israel. That's fascinating, and you would completely miss it if you didn't understand that.
Yeah, there
context.
are, Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1 says, he shall be called in Hebrew Netzer. So, again, it beautifully fulfills, and I think Matthew, traditional Jews in the first century, and even today, reading Matthew, who, if we understand some of those rabbinic ways of interpretation, it actually captivates us. Draws our attention that, oh, that is interesting. The Netzer moved to Netzeret. Let's read further.
This did not happen in America. It happened in Israel. When we come back, we'll look at some other great examples from the book of Matthew. We'll look at the healing of the leper as a messianic sign. Absolutely fascinating stuff. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Jewish Voice is dedicated to proclaiming the gospel, the good news that Yeshua, Jesus, is the Messiah, to the Jew first and also to the nations. One way we do this is by helping some of the most impoverished and needy Jewish people in the world. Even more important than the physical relief our medical help provides is the opportunity to share God's love through the good news of Yeshua. Today, we are just weeks away from our next medical clinic in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to help two impoverished Jewish communities living there, the Beta Avraham and the Beta Israel. Our volunteer medical professionals will be providing a clinic for eye surgery, glasses, dental procedures, and specialized medical treatments, all free of charge to thousands of men, women, and children, many of whom have never even seen a doctor or dentist. Will you help these precious people? Every gift, large or small, will make a difference in someone's life. As you respond with a gift of $40 or more, we will rush you the Rabbi Barney Kasdan's latest book, Matthew Presents Yeshua, King Messiah. Not only will you experience the wonderful feeling that comes with knowing you're helping some very needy Jewish people, this remarkable book will bring you the full picture of who Jesus, Yeshua, really is from a Jewish perspective. The importance of understanding the Jewishness of Jesus, the historical and cultural setting of his day, as it will help you better understand Yeshua's teachings, and the often overlooked rabbinic sources that give fresh insights into Matthew's presentation of Yeshua, the Jewish Messiah. We will also send you a DVD teaching by Rabbi Jonathan Burtis called The 10 Biggest Lies About Jesus and His Jewishness. This teaching examines the fallacies that many Jewish people have about Jesus and His Jewishness. Misconceptions that, if not changed, can separate us from experiencing who Jesus really was and is. Finally, as an ongoing thank you for choosing to help so many in need, you'll receive our inspiring and informative Jewish Voice Today magazine. This bi-monthly magazine brings you wonderful insights into events in Israel, Bible prophecy, and the Jewish roots of your faith. Please call, click, or write now. And please be as generous as possible. When you respond today, you'll be providing life-saving medical help to some very needy Jewish people. And you'll receive these ministry resources that will bless and inspire you. And they'll also be a constant reminder of your partnership with us to bless the Jewish people. Thank you. It's been hiding in plain sight all along, right on the opening pages of the New Testament. As you're about to discover, the book of Matthew is a remarkable window into the Jewish context of Jesus' life and times. Get ready to have your eyes open as our special guest brings illuminating insights into the person, the words, and the role of Yeshua HaMashiach. It's all just ahead. Today on Jewish Voice.
I'm back with Rabbi Barney Kasdan, who just wrote a new book. It's called Matthew Presents Yeshua, King Messiah. Barney, this is an incredible piece of work, a 400-page commentary on the book of Matthew that digs back to the Hebraic roots. Talk a little bit about this process.
Well, it kind of came out of my Jewish background, as a secular Jew in Southern California, my family.
A surfer.
Well, that's it. That's another one. But to appreciate, it just seemed like Jesus was a Jew, of course. Everyone knows that. And yet I was hard-pressed to find literature that really looked at it from that Jewish perspective. It seemed like a lot of the Christian interpretations dealt with the spiritual principles and, of course, the great teachings, but missing some of that Jewish background. And, of course, I'm sorry to say there's not a lot of Jewish material out there on the Gospel of Matthew, certainly not material that believes that he's actually the Messiah. So I was excited. I tell people the book was therapeutic for myself. I just wanted to, interact with that, and I've had the blessing of studying for many years, both on Christian and Jewish graduate level, and it just was an amazing blessing to pull it together in this form.
Well, it's a great piece of work. What's amazing to me, Barney, is how much is in there. I've read many books on Matthew, and you're right, they bring out great principles. They tie it together with some scriptures in the Tanakh in as far as the continuity, but as far as going back to the culture, to the traditions, to the customs, you miss so much if you don't do that and look at the Hebrew, as we did with Notzir. It all comes alive. Let's look at another example. You talk in the book about Matthew chapter 8 in the healing of the leper, which is a very unique Messianic sign. Talk about that.
Well, it is, and I think that's why it's not a coincidence that Matthew brings this up. It's not necessarily chronological order, but to him, as a first-century Jew, this is an important piece of evidence about the claims of Yeshua. Leprosy, of course, was essentially the uncurable disease of his day. Different forms we would call leprosy. And in fact, the Torah itself, the Bible itself says, most people you're just going to have to put in leper colonies. It's in Leviticus 13, Leviticus 14. They cannot interact with the Jewish society. They cannot go to places of worship. So there's not much hope at all for a leper. And so it's understandable that one of the Jewish rabbinic views is that, well, it's just something we can't do much about, but when the Messiah comes, he will take care of all those diseases, including leprosy, the most dreaded one.
It's a hopeless condition, and they're banished from the community.
Yeah.
But the Messiah is the answer.
So when Yeshua is in Israel and encounters that leper in Matthew chapter 8, he doesn't shy away for ritual purity reasons, but he goes towards him. And, there's even a beautiful story, by the way, if I can briefly say, what's in the Talmud, the rabbinic writings, I think illustrates the importance of this. It's a story about a rabbi who was walking down the road, and behold, he meets Elijah. the prophet. You know, it's a story. It's just to prove a point. But the rabbi is so taken, because Elijah, of course, is to announce the Messiah for us. He says, Elijah, this is beautiful. The Messiah must be close. Where is he? When is he coming? He says, well, why don't you go ask him yourself? And he says, well, how can I find him? Where can I ask him? He says, oh, you'll find him around the corner. He's with the lepers wrapping their bandages.
Beautiful.
Because, and then it says this in the rabbinic writing in Sanhedrin, quote, he took our diseases, he cured our infirmities.
Quoting Isaiah 53.
Isaiah 53 is the Messiah.
Fantastic.
So, you know, you read Matthew chapter 8 and you begin to realize, of course, it's a spectacular miracle, any healing like this, but I think to the first century Jewish community, and hopefully even today, that chapter is a messianic sign. It's a sign that the Mashiach, the true Messiah, is here because he's taking the most incurable disease.
And those that had eyes recognized him as the Messiah in connection with that healing. So it wasn't just a great healing, it was specifically connected to a tradition and a prophecy.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, you know,
Fantastic.
I even read the New Testament, and it says there were many disciples, thousands of disciples, tens of thousands. Well, you know, these were real people, and I think they understood that this is not just a rabbi that's giving us a teaching. This might be the Messiah, the son of David.
You know, even the idea that the Jews rejected Jesus as their Messiah, what about those first believers that took the gospel around the world?
Well, that's it. I mean, if all the Jews rejected Jesus, then how do we get a New Testament? Because it was all written by Jews.
It was indeed. I wish we had time to cover more. It's a fascinating commentary filled with incredible insights, and I just want to congratulate you on a great work. Rabbi Barney Kasdan, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
I really want to encourage you to get yourself a copy of Rabbi Barney Kasdan's latest book, Matthew Presents Yeshua, King Messiah. This book provides important revelation on the Jewishness of Jesus and gives you a much fuller picture of who he really was and is. We'll be right back.
Jewish Voice is dedicated to proclaiming the gospel, the good news that Yeshua, Jesus, is the Messiah, to the Jew first and also to the nations. One way we do this is by helping some of the most impoverished and needy Jewish people in the world. Even more important than the physical relief our medical help provides is the opportunity to share God's love through the good news of Yeshua. Today, we are just weeks away from our next medical clinic in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to help two impoverished Jewish communities living there, the Beta Avraham and the Beta Israel. Our volunteer medical professionals will be providing a clinic for eye surgery, glasses, dental procedures, and specialized medical treatments, all free of charge to thousands of men, women, and children, many of whom have never even seen a doctor or dentist. Will you help these precious people? Every gift, large or small, will make a difference in someone's life. As you respond with a gift of $40 or more, we will rush you the Rabbi Barney Kasdan's latest book, Matthew Presents Yeshua, King Messiah. Not only will you experience the wonderful feeling that comes with knowing you're helping some very needy Jewish people, this remarkable book will bring you the full picture of who Jesus, Yeshua, really is from a Jewish perspective. The importance of understanding the Jewishness of Jesus, the historical and cultural setting of his day, as it will help you better understand Yeshua's teachings, and the often overlooked rabbinic sources that give fresh insights into Matthew's presentation of Yeshua, the Jewish Messiah. We will also send you a DVD teaching by Rabbi Jonathan Burtis called The 10 Biggest Lies About Jesus and His Jewishness. This teaching examines the fallacies that many Jewish people have about Jesus and His Jewishness, misconceptions that, if not changed, can separate us from experiencing who Jesus really was and is. Finally, as an ongoing thank you for choosing to help so many in need, you'll receive our inspiring and informative Jewish Voice Today magazine. This bi-monthly magazine brings you wonderful insights into events in Israel, Bible prophecy, and the Jewish roots of your faith. Please call, click, or write now. And please be as generous as possible. When you respond today, you'll be providing life-saving medical help to some very needy Jewish people. And you'll receive these ministry resources that will bless and inspire you. And they'll also be a constant reminder of your partnership with us to bless the Jewish people. Thank you.
My next guest is a Jewish believer. He was born in Ukraine, but raised in Israel. He's a talented musician who plays violin and writes his own music to bring out the rich Hebraic roots of our faith. Here to perform the Battle of David off his latest CD, Visions of Messiah, is Dan David.
Coming this summer, July 5th through July 12th, join Jonathan Bernis and his family on a spectacular 7-day cruise to Alaska. You will experience beautiful scenery, worship, and musical performances by concert violinist Maurice Sklar. There will also be great fellowship and teachings on the Jewish roots of our faith by Jonathan Bernis. Please check our website at www.jewishvoice.org for updates. as additional guests and musicians will be joining us. To register now, call Jabez Travel at 1-888-435-3787. Email lisa@allchristiancruises.com or visit our website. The cruise is departing from Vancouver, British Columbia, and it's a voyage you won't want to miss. Be sure to join us in beautiful Alaska.
Since 1967, Jewish Voice has been dedicated to proclaiming the good news that Yeshua, Jesus is Messiah and Savior, to the Jew first and also to the nations. One way that we do this is by helping some of the most impoverished and needy Jewish people in the world. We're able to demonstrate God's love by providing these people with medical care, dental care, eyeglasses, medicines, eye surgery, water purifiers. It's all completely free of charge to them. But most importantly, we proclaim the gospel. And it's through your faithful support that we are able to make a difference in their lives. Now, as our way of saying thank you, I'd like to send you Rabbi Barney Kasdan's latest book. It's called Matthew Presents Yeshua, King Messiah. This is an incredible Messianic commentary. It will give you a true picture from the Gospel of Matthew of Jesus in his historical context. This is part of our mission here at Jewish Voice, to help you to understand the Jewish or Hebraic roots of your faith. And as you better understand this connection, the Bible just comes to life in a whole new way. So I really encourage you to get this book. In addition, I want you to have a teaching that I did. It's called The 10 Biggest Lies About Jesus and His Jewishness. Many Jewish people have misconceptions that are derived from a 2,000-year-old legacy of misunderstanding that's really obscured the true identity of who Jesus really is. He is Yeshua, the Messiah of Israel. This DVD looks at just 10 of the most important, significant lies that need to be reversed today. And as an added bonus, when you order these products, we'll also want you to have our Jewish Voice Today magazine. This is a bi-monthly magazine about some really important topics pertaining to Israel, Bible prophecy, and the Jewish roots of your faith. It's a great resource, and I want to get it into your hands. Now remember, if you choose to receive these materials by sending support today, it's your gift that will be used to help some of the most impoverished and needy Jewish people in the world. Hey, by the way, we're on Facebook. You can check us out by going to facebook.com/Jewish Voice. Be sure to like our page, and you can stay up to date on everything happening here at Jewish Voice. Well, as I leave you today, I want to remind you, as I try to do in every program, to pray daily for the peace of Jerusalem. They need our prayers, and the Bible says they shall prosper that love thee. This is Jonathan Bernis saying shalom, and God bless you.
Jewish Voice is made possible by the support of friends and partners like you.